I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Oh, yes.
How are you?
Shall we say, well rested. How are you?
I've been better. We recorded this podcast yesterday, and it was quite good, I think.
Yes, there was such brilliance that was lost in the void. I've partially lost my voice over it.
But there was an issue with the file and was left unusable. So here we are trying to make magic again. You wanted to say something about Sundance.
I did.
The Sundance Film Festival.
Oh, yes. We have news about that. We're accredited as press at the Sundance Film Festival this year.
So all the years you attended previously, it was through
Ion Cinema since 2012, actually.
But for 2025, you applied.
For us, 2026.
And they validated us.
They did validate us.
Which is important to some people.
Well, yeah. But I'm sure that you will find it irritating come January when we have to watch a couple things.
Well, I think you said it, couple.
Yep.
There are two things that spoke to me. There's a Maria Bamford doc.
Did you look at the lineup?
No, but you immediately mentioned two things that sounded very interesting.
Well, I'm always on the hunt, like a truffle pig, to bring you gifts.
That's no way to talk about Oprah.
Ooh, I'm talking about myself. But
she famously loves her truffles.
Yeah. But they use pigs to find them sometimes, right?
So the Maria Bamford doc, and what was the other one you mentioned?
Courtney Love.
Yes, I would be very interested in the Courtney Love doc.
Oh,
so
yes,
those are two I would for sure watch.
Did you see Adam Sandler? I think he was doing Jay Kelly press. I didn't like Jay Kelly, but he's the best part of it. He was asked if there's an album he could put on at any time, and he said, "Holes live through this."
You know, I do have Celebrity Skin on my gym mix.
Well, that's not on that album, but
I mean that's my whole reference. I guess we all have a whole reference, but
hopefully more than one whole reference.
Although some people don't. Well, anyway,
some people don't have holes.
What would? There was an episode of Botched where a young man had lost his ass to a large tumor. Yeah, and it was sad.
That's a whole nother story.
Is there an album? Can you answer that question? Is there an album you could listen to beginning to end forever?
Oh, Confessions on the Dance Floor.
Mine would be Rhythm Nation.
Oh yes, I have others that just came to mind, but Live Through This is a really great album. But I mean, I usually get stuck on Violets. That shit's on repeat in my car.
I'd also like to throw out Anita Baker's Compositions for all you adult contemporary fans out there. Anyway, moving on.
Little skadoodle.
Last week I was in Houston because I went to see the Boys Mind tour, the Brandy Monica tour.
Oh, yes.
When they were in LA, we were preoccupied. So
with cinema,
I had to find a way to enjoy something some kind of way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I have to say, I really enjoyed the concert. The lineup for the Houston show was Keisha Cole opened, then Kelly Rowland, and then the headliners, Brandy and Monica, came out. I was very impressed by this production. It started on time. Everyone looked great. Kelly Rowland was amazing. I feel like she doesn't get enough shine for how amazing she is. And she looks so good. But of course, the stars of the show were Brandy and Monica. And I thought the setup of the concert was brilliant because those two ladies, they come on stage together. And the first block of songs were Brandy doing, I think, 3 while Monica stayed on stage and watched her. And then we immediately switched to Monica performing a few songs while Brandy remains on stage and watches her.
I mean, they didn't get on their phones and totally ignore what the other ones did.
No, they were present and attentive, and they seemed to be having fun. Then they go back and forth. So one would do 1 or 2 songs, costume change, while the other one is just really slick, fluid. The pacing was great.
An efficient use of time, it sounds.
Very efficient. I mean, they were on top of it. In fact, I had excellent seats, like 5th row, front center. And after Kelly Rowland finished, I thought, oh, for sure, I'm going to have time to run to the bathroom. And I get up, and I don't think I hit row 7 before Brandy and Monica are about to pop out.
The beat drops.
Yeah. So it was really great. And
Wait, weren't you sitting by somebody? Was it near? You were,
see, I was next to CeeLo and then Frank Gatson, who is a creative director. He's responsible for this tour. He, of course, was there because he's working on the tour. But I had met him a couple times many, many years ago. But he's famous for, as a choreographer, creative director, and I think most notably working with Destiny's Child and Beyonce. I know he did, I think, like her first 4 solo tours, and then he did the tour she did with her husband Jay-Z. But man, I mean, just a really beautiful way to showcase everyone's talent. It felt unified, like you said, a really efficient use of time. And of course, Brandy and Monica had a history of, maybe there was some contention between them, which they talk about like in the tour, because there are a lot. Oh, I wanted to comment on the visuals.
mm-hmm.
They really spent time coming up with unique visuals for the tour, and the level of storytelling, it's very good. But they talk about how, they were teenagers when that song, The Boy's Mind, came out in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And how people were sort of pitting them against each other. And it's like, we're just children. They had never met before they recorded that song.
Perpetuating a song about female rivalry.
But they seemed healed, and the crowd was a lot of fun. I would say it was mostly women around their age. So like, early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just really good vibes. Of course, the show ends with the two of them performing The Boy Is Mine, which was, a highlight. I will say, Monica seems much more comfortable on stage than Brandy. And I've seen Brandy perform more than once. We actually saw her together. She performed at the West Hollywood Pride Parade many years ago.
Yes, she did.
And I've seen Monica perform. And my impression of Monica was always she was kind of like a park and bark type of girl.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually moves a lot. There are a lot of dance. I mean, the production, the choreography, it's definitely deserving of those two's talent. And I hope that if these two don't stay on tour, that we continue with these types of tours, showcasing talented artists in this realm
mm-hmm.
with this kind of production. Yeah. And I could think of so many others who would be great doing something like this. So that was exciting.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you. Moving on. I noticed recently Timothée Chalamet is getting a little bit of commentary or backlash because of his attitude during press from Marty Supreme. Specifically, there's one interview where he's going on about his performance being top level shit. I know when Marty Supreme was first sort of like the trailers were coming out, this Zoom call he did with the marketing team went viral because he's acting kind of crazy and being bossy. And you and I have both seen Marty Supreme.
Yeah.
And we have a review for it on our YouTube channel that isn't published yet. It'll publish when the movie comes out because it's filled with spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as people who've seen the movie, what Timothée is doing is basically his character. Because his character in Marty Supreme is a top tier hustler who just runs his mouth.
And he just wants you to know.
So I think that's what he's doing, is mimicking his character. I don't think that he's actually
but
like this egomaniac.
People get weird about that. Like Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman kind of. I bet people are going to get all, if there's headlines about that now, they're going to get all bent out of shape. And years later, we're going to say it cost him the Oscar.
But I will say, I mean, with the performance he gave in Marty Supreme, he can afford to have an attitude. He was spectacular.
Yeah.
Or I should say is spectacular in that movie.
Yeah, I agree. And anybody that listens to us know that we have varying opinions about Timothée.
Okay, moving on to another very talented actor. Tommy Wiseau is
the
man who starred in and created the film The Room.
The last vestige of a generation.
Which is a cult classic. And for people who don't know, it's a cult classic because it's considered like the worst movie ever made in earnest.
Yes.
Since then, I feel like many have tried to duplicate that quote unquote magic.
You can't duplicate failed art.
No, because the backstory. So Tommy Wiseau directed, financed. Well, even the financing is questionable for this movie because apparently he spent $5 million and it looks like it was $5,000. Stars in it. And then the co-star of the film, The Room, is Greg Sestero, and he wrote a book called The Disaster Artist, which I've read.
Yes.
And then there's a film called The Disaster Artist starring James Franco as Tommy Wiseau. Do you recall who directed it?
James Franco.
Oh, he did?
Yes, this was right before that fall from grace that he's not quite recovered from.
I highly recommend both films.
Yeah, I remember you got Sharon Stone in there, Melanie Griffith.
And the book is very interesting, especially for people who live in LA, because there are a lot of references to, and at the time I read the book, we were living like down the street from the apartment he lived in. So that made it that much more fun. But the point of bringing this up is a little bit of info came out that I would say one of the more notable moments of dialogue in The Room is a moment when Tommy's character in his best acting says, "I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark." And I think I added a little more life to it than he does.
What about Elizabeth, huh?
Right. There are many memorable moments, but the scene I just read, apparently that took 3 hours and 32 takes to complete, which is mind-boggling. There's also an infamous, well, there are 2 sex scenes that look like the corpse of Dracula seizing on top of a woman.
Seizing.
And the music that goes along with it.
He's
you
like,
are my rose. You are my rose.
Tenderizing chicken. That's what that looked like. I think we had a string. I think it's my most repeatedly watched film on Letterboxd, although it's been years now, because we had a period where we showed that to absolutely everyone that came over, including
anyone
who
came to our house. We were
your mother,
even my own mom, who sat there and said, "I don't think we should be watching."
Yeah, well, she politely got out her little magazine, and then we
preoccupied herself. But yeah, I would think that anyone listening to us has at least heard of The Room.
Oh, and we've met Tommy Wiseau.
We did at Man's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
For a screening.
No, you back when you were doing hair, you had a client that had directed a movie starring Carrie Elwes.
That's right.
And for some reason, it was having its little premiere there.
Well, it was part of that festival, though,
yeah,
which we saw. Oh gosh, there's a movie we reviewed by David Beck regarding us.
Yes,
with a trans woman as the lead, which I thought was quite good. That it was a part of that festival. Do you recall what that's?
No, but
it has kind of a dances with films. Because I always think it's like Dances with Wolves, but it's not that.
Don't know why that was so hard to pull out.
But. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Final moment in this section. I just realized on YouTube Studio, like the Creators app, creators can now reply to comments with voice messages.
Yes.
So I've tried it out on a few people who I recognize their profiles as like people who've listened for a while, and they seem nice. So
your gold star students.
So I tried it out on them, but it's a fun feature. It seems a little dangerous though.
Well, because you haven't let me do it.
Hell no. I can only imagine.
Oh, if I find out how to do that,
yeah,
you'd be ripping people new assholes.
Moving on to the restaurant section, there isn't much. Although when I was in Houston, I tried a place called Cocoa Crepes and Coffee, and they had a pecan pie crepe that was so good.
There's so much alliteration going on.
It was filled with what felt like the pecan pie without the pecans. So that gelatinous molasses-like stuff.
So Caro syrup, but yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Caro syrup? I made you pecan pie, and then we had Caro syrup for years because
for years.
Don't really like. Oh,
but shout out to Cocoa Crepes and Coffee. And then someone told me about Ina Garten's brownie pudding.
Yes,
and I was looking at videos of it. It looks dangerous, but so good. So I'll have to share the recipe with you.
Since I'd be the one to have to make it.
Yeah. All right. There is something in the Sorry to This Man section. We reviewed the film House of Wax on our Patreon, and John Abrahams is in that film.
Yes.
And we mistakenly said that he's the character in Scary Movie that torpedoes Anna Faris with his semen.
I believe.
But it's not him. It's actually Chris Masterson.
I believe that was me that said that. I haven't watched Scary Movie since 2000.
Well, there's no need for excuses.
It's not an excuse. I'm just saying.
Well, it is.
But Jim Abrahams is in Scary Movie. It's
every time.
It's not his.
It can't just be the fact that it is.
It's just not his geyser of semen that is assaulting Anna.
All right, moving on. Films released we didn't cover. Atropia.
I think you would have gotten a kick out of this. It won Sundance very controversially this year because everybody seemed to think Sorry Baby should have won. With that movie having been released theatrically, that got a lot more attention than I think Atropia is getting. But I still would recommend it. I enjoyed it. It's directed by Haley Gates. It's kind of a docudrama because it's based on Aaliyah Shawkat is the lead, and she's at this focal point of this troupe of actors working on this U.S. military base, and they're doing Iraqi war simulations. And these people are getting really into it, the actors. And but for a purpose that is, kind of nefarious. But I would recommend it, especially if you like Aaliyah.
Next, Franz.
I've asked the publicist for a screener of this, and they have not sent it. I don't know why they would be withholding it, but I love Kafka, and this is a biopic of sorts, directed by the great Agnieszka Holland.
Oh.
So I do want to see it.
Goodbye, June.
Kate Winslet has decided that she needed to direct a film. Have you noticed well, you haven't, but I, Google search Sigourney's name every day. So she's been, and I like to type it in. I don't like notifications. I like the ritual. But Kate Winslet hasn't really been doing Avatar press, which is interesting. So I've watched all the Sigourney stuff, but she directed a film starring Helen Mirren that came out on Netflix, or it's a Netflix release, and I think they're doing a limited theatrical.
The Mysterious Gaze of the Flamingo.
This I would also recommend seeking out. I think it's an excellent bit of recuperation from quite a young director. I think it won, was that the top prize out of Un Certain Regard at Cannes this year. And I happened to see that. I was shocked at the person that directed this is so young, but it's set in the early 80s in Chile, and it's about a group of, and of course this language wasn't around then, but they're a lot of trans and non-binary members of this town that kind of are holed up on the outskirts, living in one house because it's dangerous where they are. But all of these closeted men, do frequent their establishment. And of course, it's the onset of the AIDS crisis, and the community blames this group of people, and they think that they are spreading the disease through their eyes. So if you, like Medusa, if you look any of these people in the eyes, you're going to be infected with the virus. So there are terrible things that happen in it, but it's worth a look.
Bygone's Resurrection. Begone's Resurrection.
I saw Resurrection at Cannes this past year, and the first 45 minutes, I'd say, are perfection. Headlined by the gorgeous Shu Qi. But I like Begone a lot. It's a little, I think it's a little under 3 hours, but it's about cinema. It's about different eras of cinema. It spans 100 years. The impetus of the narrative has something to do with dreaming. People are no longer dreaming, and those who do continue to dream are kind of societal rebels. It's fascinating, but I do think it runs a little bit long. But the first scenario is, see it on the biggest screen. I think it works better in the cinema.
Lastly, Scarlet.
I saw at Venice, and that's an animated film that has some gorgeous visuals. I think I got a little irritated with the story, but basically, I think Hamlet in an animated film. Was it Hamlet? I don't remember the plot mechanics, but it's borrowing heavily from some Shakespearean play. How do the afterworlds, like Hades version where the young girl is stuck for most of the film. There are some exceptional and striking visuals, but it was fine.
Projects of interest. Tomb Raider.
So Sigourney's been keeping busy, and she just announced that, or had confirmed that she's going to be in the new Amazon MGM Tomb Raider series opposite Sophie Turner. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think, is the showrunner from Fleabag.
Oh,
And I think that's what Sigourney talked about, like how witty the script was. I'm not a huge Tomb Raider fan of the films. I think the 3 previous films are terrible. So hopefully this should be interesting. But and I don't really need Sigourney to do TV, but I'm excited. I will take anything I can get.
Don't Ever Wonder.
Eugene Ash, who the director of Sylvie's Love, which we reviewed and both quite liked. It's a very pleasant, lovely film, starring Tessa Thompson, if you haven't seen that. But Lorenz Tate and Nia Long are headlining his new project, which is filming right now.
Lastly, Exorcist Martyrs.
It's not that I'm innately excited for Exorcist, but Mike Flanagan, I guess, is directing this, and I do like him. But the big news has been that Scarlett Johansson's going to be in it.
Ugh. I'll watch it.
I like Mike Flanagan though. I think he could turn the beat around on what David Gordon Green was doing.
This past week on Patreon, we reviewed, as I mentioned, House of Wax, which co-stars a lovely Paris Hilton. Maniac Cop 2,
yes,
which features Bruce Campbell, Robert Z'Dar. And then a really cool French film called Garde à Vue, also known as The Grilling, also known as The Inquisitor, which was very difficult to find.
It was, but it's excellent. Claude Millet.
So if people can find that one, I'd definitely recommend.
Love Lino Ventura, Romy Schneider. And Garde à Vue, I think, means police custody, but the Grilling is so funny to me because it's a cookout.
Yeah, I don't love that title. I was thinking something more like Confessions. Something with confessions in it would have made more sense.
The book's called Brainwash that it's based on, which is pretty good too. Grilling makes me, right now, my mind is going to Panini.
Unfortunately, there are many entries in the obituaries section. This might be the most we've ever had.
Checking out at the end of the year.
So we're going to start with the music section. First, Jubilant Sykes. He's an opera singer. He was found dead in his home in Santa Monica, and his son has been arrested and charged for the murder.
When you told me that yesterday, this is some Marvin Gaye shit.
Yeah, and not to be nosy, but I'm very curious what happened because that's really tragic.
Yeah. Whenever a child murders the parents and they're famous, it's my mind is also going to Susan Cabot.
He was 71 years old. Then we have Abraham Quintanilla, the father of Selena.
Yeah.
He died at the age of 86. And then I meant to mention this several weeks ago and forgot, so I'm mentioning it now. But Jelly Bean Johnson died at the age of 69. He's a musician, songwriter, producer. I'm familiar with who he is. He was affiliated with The Time, Morris Day's band. And he's part of that world with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So, of course, I know that because of Janet Jackson.
Yeah, he was in Minneapolis for a while, yeah.
But Janet has mentioned him several times over the years in interviews, at concerts. She would say his name. And notably with her, he worked on Black Cat, her number one song. One of many of her number one songs.
If I had to talk about the opening moment of her songs, of her catalog, that might rank as... the cat snarl at the beginning, I love.
Can you name some songs of hers you like?
Oh,
Just a Little While. Together Again.
Yes, you know the ones that I like because when we first met and I learned of his love for Janet Jackson, I'm like, oh, I love these two songs, and he was like, well, those are the ones I don't like.
Okay, Together Again has grown on me.
That's her biggest hit.
Well, you know what made me appreciate it? There's a podcast, and now the name just escaped me, but it's like,
Oh, with that straight dude that breaking down everything.
yeah, like the songs that made the 90s. So, is that what it's called? Songs that made the 90s. Let me look it up.
You know, when I was in...
It's called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. It's a podcast. And first of all, the guy doing it, his voice, I really like. I think
It's like butter.
His name is Rob Harvia. But his love for Janet Jackson is infectious, and him talking about the song Together Again. I listened to that podcast driving to Palm Springs one day. So driving back, because the episode's over an hour long, so it was like pretty much my drive to Palm Springs. But on the way back, I listened to Together Again on repeat. And ever since then, I've really liked it. But just a little while, I don't know.
Oh, I love that song.
That one, I don't know. The video is amazing.
Together Again, I think I was 7th grade. And I had a CD single of that. It wasn't even the whole album. I had the single. And I would go to all the dances, you know, there'd be junior high dances. And there'd usually be like in the basements of churches and shit. These raggedy children getting up to down there. But I would bring that along to some of those dances and ask the DJ to play it.
Homosexual. That and Shares Believe. And Ray of Light, Madonna.
Yeah, the Shares Believe used to get dedicated to me.
And then didn't your grandpa call, what was it, blue, like circus music or something?
Yeah, he's
I'm blue.
He's like, turn that circus music off.
Okay, I also refer to music as circus music, but it's not meant, there's no like racial or whatever connotation.
Yeah, well, because he had some choice things to say that were racist as well. And also, I used to be, I had periods of being obsessed with things as a child, and I had these little animals.
As a child?
Yes. Well, the child is still alive within me.
That's right.
I haven't killed it yet. These little animal placards where you'd get a picture of the animal on it and there'd be facts about it and shit. Because at one point as a kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist. So I was obsessed with getting these cards in the week, every week in the mail. And that same grandfather, Donald, there's a bird called a blue-footed booby. My mom was pissed because I was sitting on his lap and showing them these things. He's like, oh, my favorite colors are pink. Nasty man.
Your mom was mad.
But I was young, and I still remember that because I think her reaction was pissed.
Well, this concludes the music section of the obituaries. Now we move on to voice actors. Jim Ward.
Oh, we're still on death. Yes.
Yeah. Who is best known for his participation in the Ratchet and Clank franchise, died at the age of 66. We have Jeff Garcia, who was known as a voice actor for the Jimmy Neutron series and some of its spinoffs. He was only 50. And then we have Beatrice Picard, who was known for voicing the Canadian version of Marge Simpson on The Simpsons. She died at the age of 96. And then this one was shocking to me. Peter Greene, he died at the age of 60, and I know him from The Mask and Blue Streak. Yeah,
often a villain, clean shaven, a Lodge Kerrigan film, pretty good indie that Criterion has a nice restoration of. And Halle Berry has often cited this is her worst, or at least once has said this is the worst film she's ever done. Peter Greene's opposite her in The Rich Man's Wife, which is terrible.
What's the movie with Halle Berry and Selma Hayek and Robert Downey Jr.?
Halle Berry.
And she's she's a psychiatrist.
Oh, and A Perfect Stranger?
No. Gothica?
Oh yeah, Penelope Cruz. Yes, and
that's not Selma Hayek. I'm sorry, it's Penelope Cruz.
Yes, that's what was throwing me. Is
that a Patreon that we did?
Yeah.
I think that review is a lot of fun. So for people who are either not patrons or joined after that, you should go seek out Gothica. Because I remember having fun shitting on that movie.
I was so excited when that came out. In what year was that? 2002? Because I mean, this horror movie with Halle Berry, with Gothica. I was like, what in the world could this be? Some bullshit.
Wow. Then we have Soki Kinsella, an English author.
She wrote Confessions of a Shopaholic, which was turned into a film that I've never seen.
She died at the age of 55.
Your buddy Isla Fisher.
Arthur Cohn. Arthur.
Arthur.
Excuse me.
Be Arthur.
Arthur Cohn, a Swiss film producer who has won multiple Academy Awards. He died at the age of 98.
He won 3 Oscars for documentaries.
Wow.
That I haven't seen. And he also notably did Walter Salas's Central Station as a producer.
And last on my list is Hector Alterio. He was an Argentinian actor. He died at the age of 96.
Yeah, and he's in several notable films. The one that sticks out to me is The Official Story from 85.
The secret film this week was my choice, and I chose the 2007 American epic period drama, There Will Be Blood, directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson. It stars Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. Why did I choose this film? I had never seen it. And after Quentin Tarantino was talking real loose and crazy about how horrible Paul Dano is in this film and how, because of him, it's not a masterpiece, I felt like it was an appropriate choice.
You're like, let me see what this fool's talking about.
What is the premise?
Let me chime in on that.
A story of family, religion, hatred, oil, and madness, focusing on a turn-of-the-century prospector in the early days of the business.
It's based on a short story by Upton Sinclair that's called Oil, with an exclamation mark. Upton Sinclair's most famous novel, of course, is The Jungle.
We will save our thoughts on Paul Dano's performance for a little later.
This is the third PTA film you've seen this year.
I know I saw One Battle After Another.
Mm-hmm.
And Magnolia, starring my friend Tom Cruise.
And Julianne Moore.
We're not friends, but I do like her.
I love her.
I'm only saying this because I know people are going to roll their eyes like, no shit. But Paul Thomas Anderson's a really good director.
He has not directed a bad film, I'm telling you. Even ones that I was cool on, they're still excellent.
Because, spoiler, I thought this was pretty spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the story. The film starts in 1898, and we meet Daniel Plainview, portrayed by Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
And I was thinking, this is only the second film I've seen Daniel Day-Lewis in, because all I know him from is My Beautiful Laundrette.
Wow.
Which we did as a podcast.
Travesty.
No, that was a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know another Daniel Day-Lewis film.
Well, he's won 3 Oscars. I was trying to prod you for My Left Foot at one point, but which I haven't seen.
I'm familiar with your left foot.
Yes, his left foot and my left, and of course Lincoln, and he's got some goodies.
After watching this, I think I would like to see Lincoln.
Lincoln's
so
great. Mm-hmm.
Someone can choose that for Patreon. But anyway, we meet Daniel in 1898 and he's digging for silver. He falls in a hole, breaks his leg. We see him dragging himself across the desert. So we already know what kind of man we're dealing with. Someone who's determined, ruthless, willing to sacrifice himself for money.
I didn't even remember to mention this yesterday, but I was honing in on his feet so much.
Were you?
Yeah, his feet look huge, and these boots he's clomping around in because of that leg break, he's kind of got a wonky gait.
It's so funny you say that because I'm normally hyper attentive to people's feet, and I didn't notice his feet at all.
I thought they looked huge at all times, like a jackrabbit.
And now that you're saying it, I did notice a limp, and it never occurred to me that it was from this initial fall.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, we see him strike oil. And then we cut to him sort of on the rise as an oil prospector. And on one site in particular, one of his workers is killed in an accident. And that worker had a newborn son.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel adopts that son. The boy's name is H.W.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes clear that he probably adopted that son as more of a form of strategy than kindness, because he uses that boy to build his business by giving sales pitches as a family man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So one day, now that Daniel's popping, his business is booming, he's in his office, and this man was never fully described to me, but he has like a main associate played by Ciarán Hinds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
Fletcher. Mm-hmm.
Daniel and his associate are in his office when Paul Dano walks in. And Paul Dano's character's name is Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a simple, sweet man who says, I know where you can find some oil-rich land. And if you give me some money, I'll tell you. And they go back and forth, but it's clear Paul's not as simple as he seems. And Daniel does pay him. And in return, Paul says, okay, well, I'm from Little Boston, California. My family has a ranch and there's oil on our ranch. Like it's literally seeping through the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Daniel and his son, HW, who's now maybe 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to this ranch in Little Boston pretending to be hunting for quail.
Well, wait, it jumps from 1898 to 1911. So the kid would be 12,
Oh,
13,
duh.
right?
Yeah. So he would be 13. He looks
He
smaller.
looks young, yeah.
Yeah, actually. But yeah, that's a good point. So they show up pretending to be hunting for quail. They find the oil, and immediately Daniel tells the father, I want to buy your land. But another surprise when they get to Little Boston is that Paul has a brother, Eli, and Eli is also portrayed by Paul Dano. So they're twin brothers, and Eli is a preacher man.
Yes.
And Eli is a little more slick than his dad because he's saying, well, how much are you going to pay us? And okay, well, but you need to give me money from my church. So they go back and forth. And ultimately, a deal is made. And Daniel says he'll give $5,000 to the church.
Mm-hmm.
So thus begins...
To shut the...
Yeah. So thus begins drilling in Little Boston. There is an explosion at one point, which is a really good scene. But in the explosion, Daniel's son, HW, loses his hearing.
And thus becomes not so useful to him anymore.
Right. So that becomes a plot point. Did
Did you think of The Brutalist at all watching this?
No, but now that you say it, I could see parallels.
Yeah, I would. That popped up several times for me while I was watching it. But
okay, so things are bebopping along. Daniel is frustrated with his son now that he is hearing impaired because Daniel has no patience for that. He's clearly just, it's like money first, people, not even people second. People like 11th. Like he does not seem to care about people.
Oh, this man is a misanthrope. Yes.
He ends up sending his son away to a school for the deaf for a period. But then we have another visitor just literally pop out of nowhere. This man named Henry, who claims to be Daniel's half brother.
And that's Kevin J. O'Connor.
Who I did not recognize.
He is the rebel poet that Kathleen Turner becomes enamored with in Peggy Sue Got Married. The Mummy, he's a villain in that franchise as well.
And I don't know if it's a combination of Daniel not having his son around and then maybe being isolated and paranoid, but he very quickly attaches to Henry. Mm-hmm. Which as the audience, immediately I was like, I don't trust this man. Henry says, oh, I saw that you struck oil in the paper, and so that's how I found
you. That's right. And what
I would have been like, okay, well, you can go back to where you came from.
At that moment when he said that, and I'm your brother from another mother, he literally says that. I think, and I said this yesterday, for some reason my mind went to Fantasia.
And her taking care of all her random
take it off. As in a lot of other celebrities, but
going broke.
But because she had that reality series, right? It was always like everybody was there wanting something.
But Daniel discovers Henry is an imposter, and it's not a surprise that I can't remember, but I know we kind of recently reviewed a film that with a similar plot point.
Oh, that's a film noir trope for sure, and I love identity issue film noir. Yeah,
interesting. But Daniel figures out that Henry is maybe lying because we see that Henry kind of interacts with Daniel like he's a mirror. He's just kind of repeating what he says and doesn't really offer anything. Mm-hmm. And one day they're swimming at the beach and it's a beautiful day and they've had a lovely swim and they go back and sit on the sand and Daniel's running his mouth reminiscing and Henry's not picking up what he's putting down. Mm-hmm. Like, wait a minute, something's not right. And then immediately we cut to...
Well, then there's this kind of agonizing scene where Henry gets drunk.
And asks for money.
Yeah, and I was unclear. Is there a prostitute there? He's trying to spend money on something.
I assumed it was for a woman. Mm-hmm. But then we cut to,
which is off screen, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah,
but we see Henry sort of passed out, and when he wakes up, Daniel has a gun to his head and basically says, "Tell me the truth." And Henry says, like, "I'm not who I say I am. I was in jail with your brother, and he talked a lot about you and your family. And when he died, he left his..."
Was he in jail with him?
He said jail,
Was it jail? Oh, okay.
And he left his journal. And so, because when Henry first approached Daniel, he's like, "Look, I have pictures of our mom and I have this." And
yeah, so there was enough.
So there was some evidence to prove legitimacy. But
God, back in the day, you can just say whoever the...
Yeah. But without blinking an eye, Daniel shoots Henry in the head. And then we see this man dig a grave, throw his body in the grave, and then cover it back up. So then there's also this side story about, in Little Boston, Daniel had bought up all of the land so that he can drill it, and then he has access to putting a pipe through it. But there's one plot of land that won't sell, and it's owned by someone named Bandy, which we'll get back to a little later. But after Daniel kills Henry, Bandy shows up. Talking about, "I heard you wanted to buy my land, so let's talk about it." "Okay, well, I'll sell to you, but I know you're not a saved man, so you need to join my church." And it's Eli's church, Paul Dano, who is still upset with Daniel because Daniel never gave him the $5,000. In fact, there's a scene where Eli goes to ask for the money and Daniel slaps the shit out of him, throws him in the mud. Then we get a really good scene with Eli sitting at the dinner table covered in mud, crying, telling his dad, "You are so stupid. You sold us out for nothing." They get into an argument. So there's that history with them. But we fast forward to 1927, and Daniel was able to build the pipeline. Now he's really rich. He's built his dream mansion. And the final sort of section of the film has two main parts. One is that H.W., his son, is now an adult, and he's marrying a young lady named Mary, who is the sister of Paul and Eli.
Yes.
So technically, Daniel is going to kind of be related to Paul and Eli if he considers H.W. his son. So H.W. tells his dad, like, "Yeah, I'm going to marry Mary, and I want to move to Mexico and start my own business, drilling oil." And to no surprise to anyone, and I don't know why H.W. seems surprised, his dad's like, "Oh, so you're my competitor. So you're dead to me."
Well, and he's also, by now at this point, Daniel is a drunk.
And a recluse.
Yes.
He's like Howard Hughes status. And he just starts yelling at him, "You have none of me in you." He reveals to him that "You are not my son. You're an orphan." And he just keeps saying, "You're just a bastard from a basket." So he's totally disowned his son.
So Moses was too, right?
Then we get a final confrontation with Eli and Daniel. So Daniel, again, in his mansion, drunk, passed out in the bowling alley of his mansion. Eli pops up and basically says, "I'm ready to broker a deal between you and Bandy. You can buy his land."
Well, because Bandy died.
Because Bandy's dead.
And his very handsome grandson, which makes me think Eli's supposed to be gay.
You said that, and we can talk about a little bit more, but when we talk about Paul Dano's performance. But yeah,
he seems like a man that enjoys the finer things in life. A little sugar in his tank.
But Daniel's like, "Okay, I mean, if it's for sale, I could, check it out and buy it." And so Eli's getting cocky. Like, "Well, since I'm going to broker the deal, you need to give me $100,000. And Daniel basically says, "Boy, you are so stupid. I own all the land around Bandy's lot. So I already sucked that oil dry. Well, how's that possible?
Drainage, bitch."
And the way he says drainage is like, I know that man had spoiler, Eli doesn't live much longer, but I would have had nightmares for the rest of my life over the word drainage. Like, damn, I'm stupid. And then I think the famous line or scene from that moment is Daniel basically saying, I drank your milkshake. I drank it up.
I drank it up. Yeah.
So now Eli is distraught. And Daniel starts like fighting with him.
Well, and he tells him he's basically the afterbirth that they should put in a jar.
Because he also reveals that your brother is the only smart one. You and your dad are so stupid, but your brother, when he sold me the idea that there was oil on your land, I gave him $10,000 and he took that money, started his own business. Now he has 3 drilling wells where he makes like $5,000 a week.
Which is interesting. So that Paul,
and we never see Paul again.
He said, screw this family.
Yes, he did. But when Eli hears, because we can presume that after Paul left, he didn't communicate with his brother anymore. I also got the sense that maybe Paul didn't align himself with his religious brother.
I think so too. He did ask in that scene, Daniel Day-Lewis, what church he would belong to. Remember when Daniel, and that's when he bristles and says, I belong to them all. I like them all.
But Daniel bludgeons Eli to death with a bowling pin. And then Daniel's butler walks in like, is everything okay? And Daniel yells, I'm finished. And then the movie ends. Man, this was epic. Daniel Day-Lewis, it took me a second to get into him because the voice he is doing was sending me. But then I read that he was trying to give like John Huston.
Yeah, and you're familiar with John Huston on screen.
Angelica's dad.
Chinatown. I just rewatched because I made my parents watch The Visitor.
Wait,
terrible
did he
movie.
do The Night of the Iguana?
He directed that, yes.
Okay, which we have a review for.
Many great films.
Queer cinema catch up.
But you've heard him speak on screen too, and I think now that you said that, I think I can hear that.
But Daniel Day-Lewis gives one hell of a performance.
Well, yeah, he won his second of 3 Oscars for this. Notably, side note, won an Oscar for cinematography. Robert Elswit, whose work we also saw this week in Ella McKay.
Oh, that's right. Which is, that movie bombed at the box office.
Well,
it's pretty, I mean, it's not the worst thing I've seen. And I actually think it's so bad that it's kind of entertaining.
It's worth seeing, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, well, in the review, I call it double tired because it's set in 2008. And then it feels like a movie that would have been made in the 90s. So it's a really odd experience. And the casting's weird.
Yes.
I would kind of recommend people maybe not pay full price at a theater, but if,
well, it was because you somehow brought up the Tarantino Dano thing in that review.
I did.
You did, yeah, because you're talking about Paul Dano's feet.
Oh, that's
right. And I was like, oh, that's so. What a coinky dink, because it's the same cinematographer.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. Maybe I should just start with my few little notes.
Do it.
All I kept thinking after like the first half of the film is how many people, when you think, like how many people's lives have been ruined or who have been badly hurt or even killed,
or who's
in an effort to make other people rich.
Oh yeah, well, all of us, because are standing on the backs of countless others in capitalism. But right under your feet right now, whose bones are there?
But I do think it's funny. Daniel's character, well, Daniel, he seems to appreciate work-life balance because he's saying he encourages all his men to bring their children to work.
But that's also a ploy, right?
Right.
Like I think, we're paralleling the two main characters are really the same sides of the opposite coin. Toxic, horrible people.
When Daniel and his son first get to the ranch in Little Boston, pretending to be quail hunters, the dad is super accommodating and is offering them what he has, which is goat milk.
Accommodating's not. He is the level of how obsequious he is.
Okay, I also felt that way initially, but then I thought, well, that's what a good host does. Like if someone was crazy enough to just come to our place unannounced and I didn't shoo them away, like if I chose to let you in,
who are you?
I would be like I would definitely offer you whatever I have and make sure you're comfortable. So,
I mean, it's like any visitors, it's like an event.
but then you think back then, yeah, any visitor. But Daniel asked for bread. And the dad's like, oh, we don't have bread. I just have potatoes. We don't have irrigation. We can't really cultivate the land. I'm so sorry. We don't have bread. We don't have bread. And I just thought, how snatched would I be if I couldn't get access to bread?
Well, yeah.
And then, of course, I thought of Oprah. I love bread.
I do too. And what would Cheesecake Factory
She
do
even
without bread?
said, oh, God, Cheesecake Factory sells their bread
They
in
do,
the
it's not as
grocery
good.
store. And we went through a phase
We did.
where we were buying that Cheesecake Factory bread. We've been through a lot of phases.
We have, yes.
Somehow we're still here.
Yes, weathering the storm, the onslaught of time.
Okay, an integral moment between Daniel and Eli is, well, first he was promised $5,000, still hasn't seen the money. And then right before they're to begin drilling in Little Boston, Eli goes to Daniel's office and says, I have an idea. I think that before you start drilling, like when you have your ceremony to cut the ribbon, you need to introduce me and let me say a prayer. And this is the introduction I want you to give. And at first I was like, Daniel's going to shoot him. But Daniel's like, okay, no problem.
What time works for you?
Sounds great. Yeah, let me know when you're going to be there and we'll set it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately we cut to the ceremony and Daniel ignores that man so hard, and you can see in Eli's face he is mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next scene is the accident, and of course Eli's saying, well, this is what happens because you didn't let me,
I didn't bless the well.
And then they kind of go back and forth because another man dies at the drill site, and Eli is asked by Daniel to maybe do a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a good scene with Eli trying to banish a demon from some lady in the church. But I think now is probably a good time to talk about Paul Dano.
Let's do it.
Okay. I don't know. I know I've seen him in something. I recognize his face.
We saw him as a child recently in LIE.
And you know who I realize I think he is?
Who?
Because he looks like, I used to be part of a gay gaming group, not video games, like strategic board games.
Yes.
Like Lords of the Deep, that kind of stuff.
That was an era of yours?
That was an era of mine when I was trying to be social and intellectual, but I didn't fit in there either.
I prefer standing out like a jagged edge everywhere I go.
Anyway, I would go every Saturday, and one of the people I would play with is Will Wheaton.
Yes.
And he looks like Paul Dano to me.
Now. Because Will Wheaton, well, my memories of him as a child were like Stand By Me.
Well, now as in like 10 years ago.
Yes.
Like when I was part of that group. So I think that all this time I thought the man I was playing with is Paul Dano.
No, you know Paul Dano.
Like I knew his name was Will, and everyone would get all excited like, oh, you're playing with Will Wheaton. But of course, all those gay gamers were also nerds.
Yes.
And I think Will Wheaton does like sci-fi stuff.
Yes.
So they were very excited about him. But I think that he appreciated that, like, I didn't know anything about what he was doing except just playing the game. And he's not gay. So that was another fun thing, is that this non-gay guy who's kind of notable
How odd.
is part of this. Well, because the games that we would play were like pretty specific. These aren't games that people play like, we're going to have game night.
Yes, this is serious, competitive.
They would yell at me, like, which is why I stopped going, because they didn't want
a lollygagger.
Well, because I'm making my little comments and I'm not competitive at all. So, which I think you need people like me in a game to keep it light, is what I think.
Like Emil Durkheim, the glue that holds society together. You need me.
I was recently at a little party where they were playing Reindeer Paws, which, for people who don't know, it's a game where you take red Solo cups and put your hands in them so they look like reindeer hooves. Oh, and then you're supposed to collect marshmallows.
Oh.
And so I was having fun playing it.
Did you mash them down like little pancakes?
Wow, that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
Or they're all on the floor. But then at the end of the game, everyone had to count how many marshmallows they had. Mm-hmm. And people had like 100 or more marshmallows.
How long do you get?
Like a minute.
Oh.
You know how many I had? Like 3. I was having fun and laughing, which I thought was the point of a game.
Yes,
These people were not feeling me. They would comment that I'm not serious enough. I talk too much.
You would not survive in the Orwellian wasteland that we're hurtling into.
Anyway, that's show business. So Paul Dano. Okay, so I don't know what I know Paul Dano from.
The Fabelmans.
Oh, he's Spielberg's dad.
Yeah, and I think we called him boring in that. He's fine.
Okay, Paul Dano as Paul, the brother who sells the info to Daniel.
Yes.
I think he works because he's supposed to be young and
creepy
and ambitious, but also like I think it works that he comes across as maybe you could pull the wool over his eyes, but then he's not that stupid. So I think it works. Then when we meet Eli, the identical twin brother who's the preacher man, at first it's a little like, well, because I didn't know that was what was going to happen is there's a twin brother. So at first it's a little shocking. And then it's like, okay, he doesn't really have preacher man energy. Like he's not, like I feel like preachers are showmen often.
They are, but there are some snivelly, sleazy ones because he was giving me Andre Gregory in The Mosquito Coast. He's giving me those vibes.
Am I familiar with that?
No, you aren't. But just a vile human.
The cat just came to me and her nails are covered in the fur of her sleeping bag.
Oh, she got stuck.
We bought our cat a sleeping bag and then we bought a heating disc that you put in the microwave and she loves it. But the material gets caught in her plastic nails, so she's always stuck. And then she rips herself out.
No.
Oh, well. Okay.
She's a survivor, baby.
But then when we see Eli do his little demon banishment ceremony in the church, I was entertained. His voice also cracks like a pubescent boy. So I was more amused than captivated by him in that scene. So already it's like, this is not quite working for me. But baby, by the time we get to 1927 and he's confronting Daniel, I just did not think he worked. And
well, I agree. And he's got that big round baby face that they didn't even attempt to put.
They didn't try to age him
hair on, but
so okay. And I don't fully remember what Quentin Tarantino said, except that he's weak sauce and that this film could be a masterpiece if it weren't for Paul Dano.
But that character is, I don't know, that character is intended to be what Paul Dano is also doing well enough.
I don't agree with how Quentin Tarantino made his statement, but I would say that I agree that this movie's nearly perfect. And part of why I would not give it a perfect score is Eli, Paul Dano's character. And also, at a point, someone mentions why Daniel's like a bad person. Like you're greedy, you don't care about your son, and you're a womanizer. And that one line really bothered me because we never see Daniel with a woman. We never, and I wish that we would have either not said he was a womanizer or included a scene where we see him, because you can already imagine how he would probably treat women as transactional things. And so that's a given, but for some reason that line bothered me because this is like a long ass epic movie and y'all couldn't include one scene with him trying to have an interaction with a woman.
I think it would be uncomfortable, but
good.
He's a user, but yeah. I think I'm assuming women are on such a back burner in this movie because it's really about fathers and sons,
sure,
and paralleling weak fathers and imperious fathers and how they kind of craft or ruin their own children. There's a lot of intimacy between like fathers and sons that like it's about fathers raising children essentially, to rearing them for an uncertain future, to say the least.
But yeah, this idea that he lusted after women was a little like, I was kind of shocked. I didn't get that vibe from him.
Well, but that you could also chalk that up to that. I believe is it Eli that says that?
I don't remember.
That he might just have a reputation as well.
Sure.
For,
but not ruinous by any means.
Paul Dano, no.
And this film is still going to get a very high score from me, but
it's not ruinous like that kid playing Spider in the new Avatar movie.
Ugh.
That's a ruinous, every scene he drains.
Yes. So no, Paul Dano is not like that. So there are really only three main characters, right? It's Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview, this capitalist monster who's I mean, ultimately we see that his ambition drove him to isolation and paranoia.
Yeah, he's got a God complex.
And it's so interesting because when you think about capitalism in this country, there are two depictions generally. One is like the American dream, like, look at what I've made for myself and look at how I've provided for my family and what I've done has benefited humanity. And that's one view. The other is someone like a Daniel Plainview who will do anything to obtain wealth and doesn't care about people, and many people are harmed.
Vampiric in many metaphorical ways. He's sucking up the energy from the ground, right?
And then we talked about this already outside of this recording, but I don't know that I saw his relationship with his son the same way you did. I didn't get a sense Daniel had genuine affection for his son, but then you explained it in a way that I could also agree with, is that he probably does, but his way of showing it.
Well, yeah, that's why the comments stuck out about Paul Dano calling another man handsome in this movie, that like how men, reacted towards one another and displayed emotions, usually through violence. But I think there is some intimacy, as I said, that like you see the baby HW pawing at Daniel Day-Lewis on the train, even when he picks him up after the accident and rushes with him, he's tender. He has tenderness for the boy. But as soon as it becomes work, then he cuts the kid off like an appendage that he doesn't want.
Yeah. So I would agree with that. And I think it just shows that Daniel sees emotional vulnerability as weakness.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also he's kind of like a shark, right? Like it's like domination is what you have to do to survive, which is kind of scary. Like that there are people out there who think like I always say you can tell a lot about a person by how they drive. And there are people who it's just like the way they drive is like, no one can be in front of me. I have to be the first one. And it's like, for what? Like to get somewhere a minute faster, or to be the first one to hit that pothole, or if there was a car that was going to run a red light, you'd be the one T-boned. Like, I feel like people don't think, but that's how he seems. Like if Daniel Plainview existed in the modern era, he would be a very aggressive driver with road rage.
But it's funny. The character of Daniel is not a very good, like he placates people very initially in his sermonizing when he's entering these communities and asking to lease the land and convince them that he's a well-to-do family man and his wealth benefits them as well. His rage and dislike for Paul and Eli is barely contained.
Oh, that's the brilliance of this characterization to me, is to the audience, it's very obvious this man is having to try very hard to tolerate all of these people
and barely being able to do so.
And they still eat up what he's selling. And I feel like that's what we see every day, is that like, hello, people, the truth is right in front of you. And I'm not talking about just politics or whatever. It's like in your own home, like the truth is in front of you and you just are like, do. Okay. Then we have Eli, the manipulative preacher, who is not that. He and Daniel are kind of similar beasts, that they're both trying to manipulate people and weaponize something to get what they want. In Eli's case, he's weaponizing religion, but he's seeking power through that. They're both performers. They both want, I guess, like power and influence.
Yes.
But in this game, Eli ultimately loses. And then the son, HW, who is sort of innocent at first because he's a kid, and really, because we do get scenes with HW before he goes deaf where he really enjoys time with his dad, and his dad enjoys time with him, because I think Daniel sees his son as a tool and someone who will maybe carry the torch.
That was the other thing, the evidence of, I think he does have feelings for the kid. he reminisces in that kind of banal flashback we get.
But see, I think he's reminiscing on what could have been.
No, it was
like, my son, had he turned out the way I wanted, he could have helped me build this empire and taken over one day.
I don't know.
I think that's what he had affection for.
The moment was so fleeting. It was just like tugging on a hat, playing a little game, and a break from the day's labor.
I think that's a normal. I'm not against what you're saying, but my feeling about Daniel Plainview is that I guess if you're a human being, there's some level of affection you require.
Mm-hmm.
So then what you're saying makes sense to me.
Well, that's the thing. He can't admit it to himself, and that's why he so violently takes care of Kevin J. O'Connor, because he had let his guard down.
And I do think HW's departure from his dad's life, and like later when he's an adult, is sort of the only emotional like climax we see.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we've covered all the main themes, like capitalism, religion, corruption of the American dream.
Yeah.
Especially like in this instance where Daniel does end up having it all, but also nothing at the same time.
Yeah, it's a man against himself tale. He's his own. Each man kills the thing he loves. He loves money.
What's that? There's a song.
Yeah.
Say it.
Each man kills the thing he loves.
Why do I know that?
Because we reviewed the Francois Ozon film Peter Von Kant with Isabella Gianni.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Each
and
man
also
kills the thing he loves.
I think you've also heard Jean Moreau singing it in Querelle.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Each man kills the thing he loves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then fatherhood and emotional isolation. I mean, I don't recall, because we've already recorded this podcast once, but I don't remember when you mentioned your grandma talking about being in a dead vault. But
oh, yes. Mm-hmm. She did say that to me.
That Daniel Plainview is in a dead vault.
She would have been 99 last week.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Greed, a spiritual rot. I mean, that's obvious. It just tears away at you. It just leaves you empty and paranoid.
Yeah, and for what? I mean, literally, if beyond the credits, Daniel is headed to Grey Gardens territory if he doesn't get locked up.
Right. And then the symbol of oil, the title, There Will Be Blood, like oil as blood, but also as a metaphor for, money.
Life-giving source.
Exactly.
And energy. Again, like
corruption, violence.
I think capitalism as vampirism, I think, is another theme that is self-evident.
I do. Well, you already mentioned the awards it received. Oh, what we didn't mention? Paul Dano was originally only supposed to play Paul, the brother who initially meets Daniel, which is just one scene.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was cast as Eli 3 days before shooting.
They fired
and apparently improvised much of the performance.
Because they fired the guy that was cast, Kel O'Neill, who I'm not familiar with.
So to be fair to Paul Dano, like he wasn't originally intended to play Eli, and I'm sure, but that just seems so out of. I would love to know the specifics of that situation, because Paul Thomas Anderson seems like a very intentional director. So to then just be like, well, I guess we'll just have you play an identical twin and you can just make it up, seems kind of unbelievable, but maybe that's part of why Paul Dano doesn't quite work as Eli.
I don't know. I think it just how Tarantino comes across is what the problem is in reality. It's like we all have our opinions about who we think is good or not. Ethan Hawke had a good soundbite. He's like, I know there are directors out there that don't like me. And the silver lining of this is that maybe Paul Dano didn't know so many people love him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. The milkshake monologue at the end was inspired by an actual congressional transcript discussing oil drainage laws.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bowling alley that we see in Daniel's mansion, that was filmed in the Greystone Mansion here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that this would qualify as, nearly a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
their complex characterizations. It feels epic. I always say I don't like long movies. Like, I don't think anything needs to be more than 90 minutes. But if it is going to be longer than 90 minutes, I like when immediately when we started this movie, within the first like 5 minutes, I felt like, oh, we're going to need space to tell this story.
Yes.
So if you're going to force me to sit for this long, at least I want to feel like I need to be sitting this long. And this film does do that.
But I rewatched it because I haven't seen it since I saw it in Minneapolis at the Uptown Theater. I think my friends Sean and Ted were with me in that. But rewatching it now, I mean, that Johnny Greenwood score that I think maybe encroaches maybe a bit too much here and there, but because I don't even know how long the film transpires before there's any dialogue, but it's pretty transfixing.
Yeah, it's not beautifully well, I shouldn't say that.
It's a mood.
It's a sight to behold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but to say it's beautiful is not the word I would use. But extremely well done. What would you give There Will Be Blood?
4.5.
Yeah, I think it's spectacular. I would give it 4.5 out of 5. All right. I don't know what's happening next week except
The Housemaid. Anaconda.
Oh. Anaconda with
Jack Black
and my friend Paul Rudd.
Yes. And
then The Housemaid with
the this year's Gloria Steinem feminist icon award winner Sydney Sweeney, who's
soon to host her I'm Dreaming of a White Power Christmas Party.
Hey, she's come out.
That's a reference to the new Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I think she came out with a statement that said she doesn't like. She's opposed to violence
or hatred
or whatever. I didn't read the article. I saw headlines. Like, okay,
I don't know what she says, so I'm not going to comment on anything. But
whatever. I mean, I don't care. But still,
she seems cooked. I'm going to review The Housemaid objectively, like I do everything. Sometimes.
Okay. Objectively.
Well, we don't typically talk about, like, we didn't talk about her and Christy.
About her nasty,
like her potential political views. Like, no, I didn't. So I mean, I can talk about a movie and not do that.
Well, I was trying to,
and actually, I thought I gave Christy a 3. Like I said, it was good. So.
Yeah, you gave it a higher score than me, but also the subject is this,
queer
woman.
Boxer.
I think it would be so unfair that the conversation is overridden by this actress.
Well, actually, that character should have been played by another person in that film.
Yeah, Katie O'Brien.
Yeah, Katie O'Brien should have played Christy.
But whatever. People, I guess, like Sydney.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No.
What are you reading?
I'm reading 2 things. Last Mohicans is not, it's not exciting me, but I'm making my way through it still. And because I want to see the film again with Daniel Day-Lewis. And I'm also reading Just Kids, the Patti Smith memoir.
All right. Ta-ta.